My ID number is 2320078, and I will explain about the importance of teaching reading skill in the first university courses. So in this paper, there are abstract, introduction, findings, and conclusion in this paper. So in the past decades, the researcher has found that there are mutual relationship between the reading skills and academic success. But in reading, the student usually use a surface approach when they are reading a text. So this paper is to push the student to use a deep approach when they are reading. So this paper will help the student to understand what is a deep approach in reading. So for the introduction of this paper, the student already know there are fundamental categories for academic learning. There are writing, reading, critical thinking, literature, and else. But usually the first year student didn't learn about this, and the professor or the lecturer presuppose that they already learn about this material. So they are lack of academic reading skill. And then they are taking some tips or trick from non-university trick. So they are reading using a surface approach, and they don't get the real meaning in what they should be read. There are two kind of approach in reading. There are surface and a deep approach. For surface reading means they are reading explicitly. They are just getting the ideas, the point from the text they read. And the deep approach is more implicit. So they are getting some information, they asking the question from the text, and they are getting the meaning or the idea from the author that already write in the reading in the text. So it is important for the student to use a deep approach when they are reading some academic text. For the study of this text, the author is use the research from another author. The author is asked the student to read an academic reading, a paper or maybe an article, and then ask them to read it and ask several open-ended question, and then the result is some of the student get the author meaning, but the other is doesn't understand the meaning from the text. They just get the idea, but they don't get the main message in that text. So the author using another approach. He asked the student to read again a short paper, and then after that there is an improvement from that trick, or and then the student already try to get to try to use a deep approach when they are reading. So they got the author's meaning, and then they get the message from the text and asking a critical question. Usually the lecturer or maybe the professor in the academic reading teach the student to use a tool, or maybe some trick, or maybe some characteristic when they are reading something. Because in the reading we have to use a deep approach so we can get the meaning of the text. Usually when reading a text, the student or maybe the reader should have a prior knowledge about what they have read, so they will get the meaning from text easily. The example that occur in this paper is there are some activity that is used by the author. So the teacher asks the student to read some book and then move to another place. They move to the library and then read books there, and then move to the laboratory and then read the books there. So after that, the teacher asks the student to explain what they have already read in that text, so they can get the meaning, and they uh, use the deep approach when they are reading. They are recreating their own ideas when they are explaining what they have read. So in this example, they are becoming more thoughtful, and they are becoming more confident with their reading skills. So the conclusion is, in the first year university student, they usually use the surface approach, but after learning and using a lot of trick and maybe use the deep approach when they're reading, there are improvement in their reading skills. So I think that's all about my explanation for the paper. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.